Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Sunday, the 6th of October, Arc de Triomphe Day. I am flatcapcallum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. Alright, coming up, we've got Sunday's bets, and it's where we will be putting the star system through its toughest paces yet. So, in the end, I'll get to it, but I've had a bit of debate. 6 horses have made the cut. And 2 different bets, and 3 of them are in both bets because I've got 2 3-star selections and the first 4-star selection, which actually is in the Arc de Triomphe. So the star system is going to be up for some scrutiny for this one. It's 22.50 across 2 bets, so there's quite a bit more stake going on across these 3 with the bigger star rating. So we will see. We've had 2 3-stars so far since I've been back, and they both were floppers. We'll see if we get any joy this time. So before I do that, I need to do the review of Saturday. I was just annoying when it was a mixed bag, and I think I wrote in the review I had enough jigsaw pieces, but to make a jigsaw, but I didn't basically. So, but roughly speaking, about 2/3 back is what I got. It might vary slightly. But yeah, we had a winner, and we had a few places, and we had a bunch of rubbish as well. So it was mixed. So we had Triomphe did what I hoped. It was competitive, and it was second. So that's got us off to a nice start. 8-1, quarter of the odds. That rolled on to the second horse, which was the one running in the handicap at Longchamp. And as I said on the video the night before, because I hadn't proofed a star system through French handicaps, I didn't put a star on it, but I felt like I wouldn't include it. Didn't put a single on it. Julie went and won 12-1. 14's what the channel got, but 12s was the SP. So well done if anyone else just overrid what I did and put the single on. And then we thought maybe. Well, I think a lot of folk thought maybe when that horse suddenly got smashed into 7-2 before the off. It didn't get the best run through at various points in the race, but ultimately wasn't seemingly good enough, despite the fact there was a lot of late money crashed that into 7-2 favourite. So that was disappointing. And then Ottery didn't do a lot, and the market didn't think much of it. So we got just a place double on the Yankee to start us off with. Then the one I left out single on its own, that ran a cracker. Second at 40-1 was the SP. I got 50s with a 25p rule 4, so that was the equivalent of 37.5-1. So just a touch under SP. Well done if you put that with anything else that I put out. But yeah, for the channel, we just had that as a single place. So go down as a 50-1 place officially, but had a rule 4 on it. Then this was a real disappointment. That ran up to lead and then faded. It was the closers that came, so probably went a bit too fast. Popmaster didn't really run great at all. Majestic Beauty looked like it was getting there, but then didn't quite, and was 4th. So that was the best we did, and that was rubbish. I think it was 8th or something like that. Never really got involved, so nothing back on that one. So that cost us bet free. And then we went to the evening all weather. Another investment ran a nice race. There was a rule 4 on that one. I think it was 15p rule 4. The SP was 11, so that placed. Cloudy Sky ran a great race, so nice to get a placed horse on the board at Wolverhampton, and it was a 2-star as well. So one on the 2-star board, that was second. And then similar story to the French bet. We had 2 framers going onto the third horse that got smashed in. That went off at 9-2 from 25-1 at the time of backing it. I think there was in the end, because there was the race, there was a loose horse, so there was a rule 4 on it. But to be fair, it was 9-2 before the horse came out. So yeah, it just goes to show that's 2 horses got smashed to pieces in the betting, and they just don't run a race. And it is amazing how often you see that. And then Zarzini, not involved, couldn't really get out from the inside draw, to be fair, but yeah, Drifter in the market didn't run a great race, so we got a place back for that one. Interesting on that one, I've mentioned this not recently but a long time ago. Certain bookmakers, you can see what the most popular accumulators are. Paddy Power do it, and interesting, although I said don't back this with Paddy Power, this, after sort of the main afternoon racing, became by an absolute mile the most popular accumulator being placed at Paddy Power. So yeah, just before that 5:45 race, it's allegedly 700 times that accumulator being placed, and it's very curious to me. Very curious for 3 reasons, right? So if anyone is duly watching this video, and I'm saying don't use Paddy Power for this, but this bet, that would not be the most sensible thing to then go and do Paddy Power. Appreciating if that's your only betting account, but there's something a little bit suspicious. Like once these things get up there, and I've seen it plenty of times. My accumulate bets get on the most popular bets, and then once they catch and they're in that top 5, people they think there's some reason why they're there and they bet them all. But there's something a little bit strange. Is what I would say is that it just didn't seem to have any right to be in that list. So I don't know whether somehow my bets get circulated somewhere else. Someone has mentioned something to me before about this, but very strange. So anyway, 30 on, 1902 back is what we got. So where that leaves us is not in great shape for the week. So we didn't have a good week last week, and we're now about 23, 24 quid down for this week. So the sort of first week back, 180 quid's getting chipped away at quite a bit. So I'd like to have a nice day on Sunday to finish this off and have a better week. A single on Blue Brother would have done all right, wouldn't it? That wouldn't have made us in profit for the week, but profit for the day if I'd done a quid on that one. But there you go. So Sunday's races. So I'll just talk you for a little bit of the thought process here, because I found this a particularly difficult day to try and get the bet configuration. I had in the end 9 horses on some form of shortlist. One, the price didn't get any bigger, so it was one of those ones sometimes I have them on the shortlist, but I'm kind of waiting to see if they increase in price, and if they do, then I'd put them on. So there wasn't quite enough margin, so that ruled that one out. Because I was looking at some funny races in Ireland. I wasn't going to do anything at the UK, so Kelso Utox is not for me. And then I was having a look around in some of the maiden hurdle races. Did have a horse, just kind of think it might be a non-runner, so I've left it full stop on that one. And then the other one, so that basically left me with my French horses. And then it was the Abbey is the one that I didn't have anything hit in the star system, and I've got a lean of the race based on the value, but it really wasn't anywhere near getting starred. So what that says is the price is probably about right, but I still have a lean. So I've left it. So what have I got? So we've got bet number 1 here, and we've had to go to triangles on this one. I have remembered the star system. So bet number 1, 12.55 Longchamp. That's what we start with. Is it the Marcel Boussac? No, can't remember. Basically, I was going to make the video, and then I had to go and settle down a little person, and so all the stuff that was in my head that I was going to say sort of slightly evaporated. Anywho, exactly why have I gone that one? It's a 10-runner race, but there's only 4 really in the mix as far as form, unless something does something quite extraordinary. It's the top 4 in the betting. And you've got a slightly odds-on favourite. Then you've got 2 O'Brien horses. You've got Bedtime Story in this one, and then you've got the other horse whose name is it Simmering, Shimmering, maybe one of those. Anywho, I don't think there's much between those top 4 at all, but the betting says there is. You can get 16s in place. At the time of making this video, if you go Hills 365, you can get 16s on it. But that Bedtime Story is seemingly a bit inconsistent at points. Seems actually like it's still improving. Hasn't been on soft grounds. There's a question mark there, but from a breeding point of view, there's not any sort of red flags on it being softer ground. It's O'Brien's second string with Christophe Soumillon. He won on one of O'Brien's on Saturday, so it's not unheard of that Soumillon can actually turn over Ryan Moore's Choice. And I just think, from a betting point of view, it was easy value in what in essence looks like it's going to be a bad each way race. To have what is the 4th favourite on paper, which for me is absolutely going to be it's going to be 3 of those 4 in the top Three of those four in the top three is how I would read the race. So I'm going with the one with the price, and it came out when I went put it through the system as a 1 star. So exactly's in 12-1, and then we get to the Arc. So I've jumped the Abbaye, and there's another one I've missed out that I didn't like at all, and we've got to the Prix d'Arc Triomphe, and I've got my first 4 star bet since returning, and we're on Aventure. It's not often, it doesn't happen very often, French trained 3-year-old fillies, let's get that right. If you actually look through the history of the race, they don't happen very often. If they do happen, it's an O'Brien horse usually, or you've got something like an Abel, that was one of them. But they do have quite a decent record if you actually go right back in the history of it. So that's an interesting point. As a 3-year-old, it's still improving. If you compare it with, it ran against Blue Stocking, and there wasn't much in it, I think about 3/4 of a length. But actually, Blue Stocking's run pretty consistently most times this season. Aventure is improving almost every time, so it's potentially got improving on there. Draws a tick on that one, so that's nice. And yeah, when I've gone through actually in terms of ratings, and you've got all the allowances for this one because you've got 3-year-old allowance and fillies allowance. So just to be clear on that for those less aware, like in a Group 1 race like that, you carry less weight if you're a 3-year-old versus 4-year-old and upwards, and you then even get a few extra pounds less than that if you're a girl horse, a filly horse. So yeah, a lightweight, good draw, progressive horse. It ticked lots and lots of boxes for me. So that's why it's come out as a 4-star bet. So that's 4 places. You can get 22s in places on that one, but I really think it's a decent price at 20-1. So Aventure, 4-star bet. Then we're going in the 405. 405. What is that one? Is that the Prix de l'Opera? Maybe he says. I'm trying to remember my French races. We've got American Sonia. Joseph O'Brien loves a good target of a race. He had a zinger when he had a 66-1 shot Dundalk on Friday night. Yeah, that would be nice to have on the channel, wouldn't it? But anyway, he absolutely targets things. He's you know, he points even wilier than his dad because he's got less stuff to choose from. But he's learned actually where you put horses, you know, where to sort of plot a path for a horse, where to go with it. That horse wants softer ground. It's got softer ground. So if you look at where it's run softer ground, it's run twice in France this year, both times well. But in the history of the horse, it runs better on soft ground. The question mark with the race really is there's only 3 4-year-olds. Everyone else is a 3-year-old in that race, so they're carrying slightly less weight. The recent history of the race is 3-year-olds dominate. But of the 4-year-olds, I really like the chances of this. Dylan Brown McMonagle usually rides it. He's come over for the ride. And yeah, I think this would have been a plan right from the beginning of the season. And it's whether it can be competitive enough to get itself in the frame, but it's a decent price. There are 3 bookmakers, which is you'll see at the top, Sky 365 and Betfred, that are 4 places on the 405, 11 runners. Those are the 3, and that's why that's preferable for this bet. So because there are 3 major bookmakers paying it, that is what I'll be taking for channel, because we've got Sky 365 and Betfred are 4 on that race. So it does make a difference. So yeah, American Sonny's in, and then 440 is the Foray, I think. We'll go with the Foray. It's 7 furlong race. There's a couple at the top of the market, clearly, like Kinross, that do look decent. I mean, on paper, I think Kinross and Tribalist are a touch above the rest. But the race isn't necessarily a favourite stomping ground, and it's a big old field for the Foray. You don't usually get as many runners as we've got here. I think it's 18, I think, something like that. And so, yeah, I found myself on King Gold. It's a French trained horse, and it's come out as a 3-star. It's a massive price, 66s. You can get 80s. I think I should have said you can get 28s, and that's if you shop around, 16s, 22s, 28s, 80s is the best prices you can get. All different bookmakers if you're doing your singles. But King Gold, yeah, outside those what I would say the top two that to me Tribalist should be a bit shorter in the betting. I think. I really think that it's not a horse where you're looking at it thinking, "Gosh, that horse is going to win that race, isn't it?" But when you look at it, it's my sort of horse from a point of view of that horse probably is in the sort of third to seventh kind of a range is how I would look at it. So I would say I think that horse is probably going to come somewhere third to seventh, maybe third to eighth, possibly. That's where I'm looking at. And so on that basis, it's massively overpriced for the fact that if you've got 4 places on there, and I'm saying there's basically a roughly 1 in 3 chance of it getting in there. If you do the maths on that, the price is massive in my book. So it's come out as 3-star. Basically, all the horses' best runs have been pretty much 7 furlongs and softer ground, mostly at Longchamp. Last time out, it was 6th of 7th, and it'll get marked down for that. It was running in an absolute top class race on ground that was less preferable over a furlong longer than it would probably want. So lots of reasons why it didn't do much other than come 6th of 7th. But to be fair, it wasn't actually that far away. The only disappointing run it really had this year is in the Maurice de Geest at Deauville, which it won the previous year. And that would be the only little niggle with it. Generally speaking, it's a horse that comes from the back, but they have run it once this year, and it run it from running prominently. So it's got a reasonable enough draw. If they wanted to run it prominently, they could do. Other than usually it sort of comes and weaves a little bit of a passage from the back. So I'm hoping it's kind of a bit of a stay on into 4th type of a horse. That's where we're applying our trade here. But yeah, I liked it. So that's the 4, including the three big star ones. We've got 25p each way Yankee. I've got a £1 win single on Exactly. 2 £1 each way singles on American Sonia and King Gold. So that's £1 each way, above the average stake. And then because that's a 4-star, we've got a 150 each way single. Sky are best for extra places. If you're doing Sky, then my advice would be to take SP, because they are shorter on most of these prices because they're offering extra places. But other than that, 365 and Betfred are your best bets for the accumulator. If you're looking at singles, you want a shop brown, because as I said, you can get better prices. That's $13.50. And then what I've done, and I'm hoping this will work out all right. But what I've done is we've got the same 3 horses, and buoyed by my success of Blue Brother on Saturday, I've got picks in both the handicaps, and that's what I've done. So again, they don't hit star system. I'll try and hold this right. We've got a pad. So it's a brand new pad for today, and it's a folding around the top job rather than the sideways one. It's a bit harder to hold. So I've basically got the 5-horse bet that we've been doing on the channel, and I've added in these 2 handicap horses on the bottom. So yeah, I've checked it through and gone through, and I'm over and over again. I'm like, no, do you know what? I'm happy. I'm happy with the position of this with these handicapping horses. So we've got 320 Aventure, 405 American Sonia, 440 King Gold, and then we've got the 2 handicaps to finish off the meeting. 515. Let's see if I can get my pronunciations here. Ital du Nignan, 25-1, 28s in places. 550 Plombu. Flambeau. We're going to go with that one. Plain bow, if you want plain bow, whichever way you want to call it. 16-1. Not like the handicapper from Saturday that was more of a progressive type. These are a little bit more exposed ones that I think actually could be framers. Although that one does have a bit of a knack of winning. It's got a great win strike rate. That. But yeah, gone through my usual processes. But like I said, I haven't got the star systems not proved on French handicaps, so I can't attribute a star onto them. So we've got 10 times 20p win doubles, that's win doubles, 10 times 15p each way trebles, 5 times 15p each way fourfolds, and a 25p each way fivefold. That is a £7 total bet. We've then got, learning the lesson from Saturday, because they're not on the star system, but 50p each way singles on Etal du Nignan and Plan Beur. So if our 3 big horses absolutely stink, then I've got a chance at least of redeeming it and the 2 handicaps. That's what we've got. So again, Sky, 365, Betfred. To be fair, most bookies are the same here, 5 and 4 places respectively. So for the purpose of the channel, we've got 4, 4, 4, 5, 4. That's what we've got in place terms. £9 is the bet. All right, that is it. Sorry, I wasn't expecting it to be as long as that. I kind of think I've done a bit of an explanation, hopefully, on most things. The handicap ones, it's a bit more complicated, and some of it's just fallen out of my head, to be honest. But unlike what some people might suggest, they weren't just stuck. I didn't just stick a pin in them. They weren't actually very. I mean, I've spent a lot of hours researching Longchamp tonight, way more than usual. So we'll see how we go. Because last year on this corresponding meeting, I picked 5 for the channel, and they all flunked, and we lost everything, and it was shocking. So we could do that today again. 22.50 could be down the drain. The year before we had a really good Sunday, and yeah, I think we hit a place Yankee and some place trebles in different bets and stuff. I don't think it was any winners at all, but yeah, did really well at Longchamp 2 years ago on the channel. Beyond that, I haven't actually got notes personally for what I've done on different years for Longchamp. I haven't kept that there. But for the channel speaking, we had 1 cracker Longchamp and 1 disaster Longchamp. What will be this one? Who knows? All right, it's up to you whether you follow what I'm doing or not, or whether you just hear from the sidelines with a set of maracas cheering everyone on. Who knows? All right, have a good Sunday. And I'll update and let you know what the crack is for beginning of next week, whether there's going to be vids and bets and whatnot, because I haven't really gone as far as looking at Monday. I mean, I glanced at things for Monday, but yeah, no idea what the sit show is with betting and videos and all that sort of stuff. And one last thing. Well done for everyone who entered the Tips League. It was a bit hard work, and well done, and thank you to Mike for doing a little bit of admin for me and trying to sort of correct people and let them know when they've put, you know, it on paper it feels quite simple. Reply to the comment in about the Tips League to enter, but yet I know from history that is not something everybody does first time. So yeah, hopefully we put a few people in the straight now. I appreciate not everybody who follows this channel is any sort of tech genius. So even me saying something that might sound straightforward to others, reply to a comment, isn't necessarily a straightforward thing. And I'm not being facetious there. Like, generally I do understand and appreciate that not everybody is tech enabled. All right, thank you very much. See you in the next video. Have a good Sunday. Bye bye.